More than 3 years since Arsenal last signed a striker. Looks like the frustration for the fan base may be about over. Lots of reports last night suggesting that Sporting Lisbon's Viktor Gyokeres could be announced as an Arsenal player as early as today. Let's find out more with talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook. Morning, Crookie.
Good morning.
Morning, Crookie.
Well, it seems to have gone on forever, doesn't it, Crookie? Have Arsenal nearly crossed the finish line with Gyokeres?
Yeah, I think they have, Jeff. We first reported in the midst of Royal Ascot that he was telling his inner circle that he expected to join Arsenal. Obviously, it's taken a while for that to come to fruition. There were reports in Portugal over the last few days the deal was stalling or maybe even in danger of collapse. I always felt that was brinkmanship, Sporting maybe leaking to their local media to try and put pressure on Arsenal. But as you say, it looks like they're finally going to get their man. A fee pretty much agreed now of £63.5 million. That's inclusive of performance-based add-ons. He's already agreed terms on a 5-year contract. And the key to getting this deal over the line, as far as we're told at talkSPORT, is Gyokeres' agent waiving his fees in order for Sporting to bring down the price to what Arsenal were willing to pay. And as you say, more than 3 years since they last signed an out-and-out number 9. This does feel, I think, to Arsenal fans like it could be the missing piece in the jigsaw, because defensively they're obviously very solid, particularly when Gabriel and Saliba are fit. Declan Rice, probably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Last season they've got a top goalkeeper in David Raya. They've got good options out wide. They have been lacking that killer instinct, and that was why Liverpool finished ahead of them last season. I think they scored 17 more goals than Arsenal did. Gyokeres obviously not proven in the Premier League, but he does have experience of English football and the hustle and bustle of it with Coventry City. So I think this could prove to be a really decisive signing for Arsenal.
Yeah.
And it's shaping into a good summer, isn't it? They've got Christian Norgard through the door. Noni Madueke, I know, has divided opinion amongst Arsenal fans, where that's going to be another option in those wide areas. And they've signed Zubimendi as well. So Arsenal getting their business done early.
Yeah, some good business. We've seen, Crookie, what Chelsea did with João Pedro. Got the deal done, flew him out to the States, chucked him in, and he's scoring goals and looking the part straight away. So can we expect something similar, bearing in mind that Gyokeres has played football in this country before? Can we expect that he can go straight into that Arsenal team and have an impact like that?
Yeah, I think that's key, Andy. When you look around at the lack of number 9, we've spoken about it a lot on this programme. We had a chat with Dean Saunders, didn't we, Jeff, a few weeks ago? Yeah. Tried to work out how much he'd be worth in the modern game. But bearing in mind there are a lack of number 9s, they looked at Šeško, they'd have looked at Ugo Ekitike over at Frankfurt, who's attracting interest in Newcastle. But I think they decided that because Gyokeres had come through the system at Brighton, he had that really good goal-scoring season at Coventry when he fired them into a playoff final. They feel he's ready to go in the Premier League. And I think Arsenal is the perfect club for him. And I Manchester United were talked about because of the Ruben Amorim factor. I think it would have been more difficult for him to go into that setup and hit the ground running. But at Arsenal, where the team is already successful, there's already a really good dynamic in that dressing room. They played Mikel Merino as a makeshift number 9 last season, and he scored goals. Yeah. So I think he will get chances at Arsenal to really be a success in the Premier League.
Crookie, Morgan GibbsWhite, obviously Evangelos Marinakis, steam coming out of his ears, threats of legal action. Is that move to Tottenham going to go through?
I think it will, Jeff. I mean, it's very difficult in 2025 to prove an allegation of tapping up because it goes on all the time. Gyokeres had agreed a 5-year contract before the two teams had agreed a fee. That is just the way that modern transfers work. I think the frustration for Forest is that the £60 million release clause in Gibbs-White contract was supposed to be confidential. They feel that confidentiality has been breached, but as I say, I think it's very difficult to prove that. Tottenham are remaining calm. I think a lot of Marinakis' frustration, from what I'm told actually, is with the player himself, who gave his word that he would only leave Forest this summer for a certain calibre of club, and Manchester City and Arsenal and Liverpool maybe. And I think Forest are surprised that he wants to join Tottenham, and Marinakis really is just throwing his toys out the pram, not for the first time.
Yeah. Crookie, finally, might have some news, some good news for United fans with regards to Mbeumo?
Yeah, I say that loosely because we've been hearing for some time now that this deal is close, but Manchester United really keen to wrap it up before they head off for their pre-season tour of America. The two clubs have only been a couple of £1 million apart in terms of the guaranteed fee for a few weeks now. Negotiations continue. He's made it clear, and Mbeumo, despite interest from Spurs, he only wants to join United, and they've got to get their finger out. There's a lot of frustration amongst the Manchester United fan base at the moment, because you look at what Arsenal are doing. I've mentioned their window so far. Manchester City have signed, 4 players before the Club World Cup. Chelsea, as you mentioned, have signed Gittins, and João Pedro obviously has had a brilliant impact over in the States. Liverpool, the champions, strengthening from a position of power. I think United fans feel, with only one signing through the door and a team that finished 15th last season, they're in danger of being left behind. So I think this is a pretty key deal for Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada to get over the line.
Absolutely. We haven't even had time to mention the big move of the weekend, which is Andy Carroll signing for Dagenham and Redbridge. I tell you what, there are some National League South centre halves who are quaking in their boots right now. Crookie, thanks very much.
Cheers, boys. Have a good day.
I got another great tribute band name. Dave in Wakefield says he's been watching for 18 years a proper tribute band called the Small Fakers. You have to be from my generation to understand it, really.
There's Andy Carroll, Jeff, just quickly, I know we're going to break. Andy Carroll, has he got a share in the club or something
I think the idea is he's buying a share in the club. The club's just been taken over. The previous owners were incredibly unpopular with the fans. So the club's been sold. I'm not sure that it's Qatari ownership, something like that.
Right.
I think Andy Carroll is going to take a share in that as well. They were relegated last season on the last day of last season. So they're in the National League South. I really like them as a football club.
Yeah.
You get a great welcome when you go down there. So I wish them and Andy Carroll well. It's an absolute coup for them, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolute coup.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.